Welcome to the tutorial on organizational behavior. Today we are going to learn about the chapter on attitudes and job satisfaction. In this chapter we are going to cover the following issues. We will learn about the three components of an attitude. We will summarize the relationship between attitudes and behavior. We will compare and contrast the major job attitudes. We are going to define the job satisfaction, as well as we are going to show how it can be measured. How job satisfaction can be measured. And we will summarize the main cause of job satisfaction. We will identify 4 employee responses to dissatisfaction. We are going to show whether the job satisfaction is a worldwide concept. What is attitude? Attitude is the evaluative statement or judgment concerning the objects, people, or events. Whenever the employees express their evaluative statements or judgment about the organization, about the objects or people or events, those statements or judgments are known as attitudes. And there are 3 components of attitudes. We can see affective, behavioral, and cognitive. The cognitive component is made up of the belief in the way things are. On the other hand, the affective component is a more crucial part of the attitudes, as it calls upon the emotions or feelings of the employees. On the other hand, the behavioral component of the attitudes describes the intention to behave in a certain way towards something or someone. So these 3 components work together to aid in our understanding of the complexity of an attitude. From the previous slide, we have learned that behavior follows the attitudes. But does behavior always follow from attitudes? According to Leon Festinger, the answer is no. That means behavior does not always follow from attitudes. In some cases, the reverse is sometimes true. Sometimes attitudes follow the behavior. Sometimes we observe people who will change what they say so it doesn't contradict their behavior. When attitudes and behavior don't line up, individual will experience cognitive dissonance. So what is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance indicates the incompatibility between 2 or more attitudes or between behavior and attitudes. Such type of incongruity is uncomfortable, and that is why individual will seek to reduce the dissonance to find a consistency. People are willing to live discomfort, but the degree to which this is true depends upon the importance of elements and how much influences the individual has in the situation and the rewards available. So the dissonance depends on importance of the elements, degree of individual influence, and rewards involved in dissonance. However, dissonance or incongruity or inconsistency is not comfortable. That's why, as an individual, the employee tries to reduce the uncomfortable situation or inconsistency by reducing the gap. How can we achieve the consistency? Consistency can be achieved by changing the attitudes, modifying the behavior, or through rationalization. In the perspective of independent and dependent variable, if the behavior is dependent variable and if the attitudes is independent variable, then there are some moderating variables which moderate the relationship between attitudes and behavior. So what are the moderating variables? We can see the most powerful moderators of the attitude behavior relationships are importance of the attitude, correspondence to behavior, accessibility, existence of social pressures, personal and direct experience of the attitude. So these are the moderators that moderate the relationship between the attitudes and behavior. These variables will impact the ability to predict how a certain attitude will predict behavior. Predicting behavior from attitudes is more of an art than a science. There are many relationships factors that influence the ability to predict behavior. Some factors include the importance of the attitudes. The more tightly related the attitude is to values we hold dear, the stronger the relationship will be to the behavior. Also, the stronger the match between attitude and behavior, the stronger the relationship. Specific attitudes predict specific behavior and general attitudes predict general behavior. The more frequently expressed an attitude, the better predictor it is. And if there is a high social pressures, that will reduce the relationship and may cause dissonance or inconsistency in the behavior. Attitudes based on personal experience are stronger predictors for predicting the behavior of the employees. The field of organizational behavior focuses on how attitudes will influence the workplace. So, what are the major job attitudes? We can see there are several job attitudes: job satisfaction, job involvement, psychological empowerment. So what is job satisfaction? Job satisfaction indicates the positive feeling about the job resulting from an evaluation of its characteristics. On the other hand, the attitude of job involvement indicates the degree of psychological identification with the job where perceived performance is important to self-worth. The job involvement looks at the degree of psychological identification with the job, and the psychological empowerment indicates the belief in the degree of influence over the job, competence, job meaningfulness, and autonomy. These are some attitudes that influence the behavior of the employees in the organization. We can see another major job attitude: organizational commitment. Organizational commitment focuses on identifying with a particular organization and its goal. If you have a organizational commitment, you will try to identify the organizational goals and you will wish to maintain membership in the organization. So there are 3 dimensions of organizational commitment. The first one is affective, which indicates the emotional attachment to the organization. And the second dimension of the commitment is continuance commitment, which indicates the economic value of staying. And the third one is normative commitment, which indicates the moral or ethical obligations. Organizational commitment has been found to have some relationship to performance, in particular for new employees. Over the years, this may be losing importance as people are tending to be more loyal to the profession than to a given employer. That means commitment has an impact on performance, but nowadays the employees are showing commitment to the profession, not to the employer. There are two other job attitudes. We can see perceived organizational support and the employee engagement. Perceived organizational support indicates the degree to which the employees believe the organization values their contribution and cares about their well-being. Whenever there is a belief in the employees that organization values their contribution as well as the organization cares about their well-being, and that type of belief in the mind of employees are known as perceived organizational support. Perception of fairness is a key factor in determining the employees' willingness to work hard for the organization. Whenever there is a higher rewards with fair treatment, employees are involved in decision making and supervisors are seen as supportive. And whenever there is a high perceived organizational support, there will be a higher OCB and performance. What is OCB? Organizational citizenship behavior. So, high perceived organizational support is related to higher organizational citizenship behaviors and performance. Employee engagement indicates the degree of involvement with, satisfaction with, and the enthusiasm for the job. Whenever there is a employee engagement, the employees are passionate about their work and company. The engaged employees are passionate about their work and company. Up to the previous slides, we have discussed various types of attitudes that influence the performance and behavior of the employees. Are these job attitudes really distinct? The answer is no, because there is a high degree of overlap between the different job attitudes. If a worker has a higher job satisfaction, they tend to be more engaged and show a stronger commitment to the organization. However, the researchers are trying to find ways to measure the different attitudes to get at their distinctiveness. Researchers are trying to make all the attitudes as distinct characteristics to use this knowledge to measure the performance of the employees. So what is job satisfaction? Job satisfaction is defined as a positive feeling about a job resulting from an evaluation of its characteristics. This is an important job attitude because it incorporates so many of the other measures. There are multiple ways to measure the job satisfaction, but the most accurate way is to ask the question if people are satisfied in their jobs and provide them with a scale to report their degree of satisfaction. The scale may be strongly disagree, neutral, agree, or strongly agree. But if you use a single global rating, one question or one answer would be best. And if you use a summation score, many questions, one average, that is okay. That means to measure the job satisfaction, you can use single global rating or summation score. The people or the employees may be satisfied. That satisfaction level may drop due to several reasons, due to dividing up the job into various facets. However, it is found that the workers are more satisfied with the work itself and workers, while there is a less satisfaction related to the promotion and pay. What are the causes of job satisfaction? Generally, we consider that payment has a great impact on job satisfaction, but this payment influences job satisfaction only to a point. The study found that after about $40,000 per year as a payment, there is no relationship between the payment and job satisfaction. I mean, up to a certain level, the payment doesn't ensure the job satisfaction. Money can bring happiness, but it does not ensure the job satisfaction. On the other hand, personality can influence the job satisfaction. If a person is negative minded, he or she will be not satisfied with their jobs. But if a person has a positive core self-evaluation, he will be satisfied with the jobs. That means negative people tends to be dissatisfied, and the positive people tends to be satisfied with their jobs. What are the responses of the dissatisfied employees? We can see there are 4 types of responses from the dissatisfied employees. We can see active response or passive response, constructive response or destructive response. The upper 2 issues are indicating that active employees who have dissatisfaction may exit the organization or may raise the voice. So whenever an employee is dissatisfied and if he is active, then he will show his behavior by leaving the organization. On the other hand, he may raise the voice for constructive improvement of the conditions of the organization. On the other hand, if the dissatisfied employee is passive, in that case there may be 2 types of response. We can see neglect and loyalty. Whenever the dissatisfied employee is passive, he may neglect by allowing conditions to worsen. I mean, whenever there is a neglect from the employees, the situation will be worsened. On the other hand, dissatisfied employees show loyalty. I mean, they remain loyal to the organization and they wait for the change. And this raising voice and showing loyalty is one kind of constructive ways from the employees. On the other hand, exit and neglecting from the dissatisfied employees is destructive for the organization. However, these are the responses. If the dissatisfied employee is active, there may be 2 responses. He may exit or he may raise voice. Or if dissatisfied employee is passive, he may neglect the organization or the situation, or he may show loyalty and wait for the change. So what are the outcomes of job satisfaction? When the employees are satisfied with their work, there are many positive outcomes in the workplace. But on the other hand, if the employees are dissatisfied with their work, there may be negative impact on the organization. However, we can see the positive job satisfaction will provide various outcomes, as for example, job performance. The satisfied workers are more productive and more productive workers are more satisfied. On the other hand, the satisfaction influences OCB. Here OCB means Organizational Citizenship Behavior. What is OCB? It is the term that is used to describe all the positive and constructive employee actions and behavior that are not the part of formal job description. However, the positive job satisfaction influences the organizational citizenship behavior through perception of fairness. And whenever the employees are satisfied, there will be a customer satisfaction, because satisfied frontline employees increase the customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. And whenever there is a job satisfaction, there is a less absenteeism. I mean, the satisfied employees are moderately less likely to miss work. We can see some other outcomes or result of job satisfaction. If there is a satisfied employees, there will be lower turnover. I mean, if a worker is satisfied in their job, they will remain in the job for a longer period of time. But between this turnover and job satisfaction, there are some moderating variables which moderate the relationship. We can see economic environment and tenure, organizational actions taken to retain high performers and to weed out lower performers. These are the elements which moderate the relationship between the turnover and job satisfaction. But generally, if the employee is satisfied, there will be lower turnover. But this relationship are moderated by the economic environment. If there is a tight economic environment, there will be lower turnover. In that case, the satisfaction level will not impact. And there is another issue. If the organization have an intention to retain the high performers and without the lower performers, this aspect also impact the relationship between the job satisfaction and turnover. On the other hand, if there are dissatisfied employees, there will be workplace deviance. The dissatisfied workers are more likely to cause problems in the workplace by stealing, by absenteeism, limiting productivity, and they will show other work outcomes such as unionize and tardy and withdraw. So these are the aspects that can be resulted from the dissatisfied employees. There will be workplace deviance from the dissatisfaction of the employees, and from the job satisfaction there will be lower turnover. We can see from the discussion there is a overwhelming evidence of the impact of job satisfaction, but most of the managers are not concerned about this issue, or there may be overestimate about the worker satisfaction. That means, as a manager, since job satisfaction impact the performance, you should be concerned about it. You should not show your overestimate about the satisfaction level of the employees. Is the job satisfaction is a concept in a particular country? The answer is no. Job satisfaction research is going on all over the world, and the research found that the Western workers appear to be more satisfied than those in the Eastern cultures. The reason may be the Westerners emphasize positive emotions and individual happiness more than do those in the Eastern cultures. Now I would like to summarize the chapter, and I will show the managerial implications from the discussion. We can see, since the job satisfaction impact the performance, that is why managers should watch employees' attitude, because attitude impact on the job satisfaction. So from the attitudes, the managers can get warning of the potential problem, because attitudes influence the behavior. When there is a positive behavior, there will be job satisfaction. Whenever there will be a negative behavior, there will be a dissatisfied employees. That's why, to understand the behavior of the employees, the manager should focus on the attitudes of the employees. And after understanding the attitudes and behavior, the manager should try to increase the job satisfaction, and they should generate positive job attitudes. Because by creating positive job attitudes and by increasing the job satisfaction and by decreasing the dissatisfaction, the managers can reduce the cost by lowering turnover. They can ensure the less absenteeism. They can reduce the tardiness. They can reduce the theft. They can increase the OCB, organizational citizenship behavior, from the employees. That means, if the managers can understand the attitudes and behavior of the employees, they can manage the attitudes, they can manage the behavior to ensure the job satisfaction, and job satisfaction will provide various types of positive impact. We can see lower turnover, less absenteeism, less tardiness, less theft, and increasing organizational citizenship behavior. But one important thing is that sometimes the managers think that payment is related to the satisfaction, but it depends on certain level. After a particular level of payment, the employees are focused on some other issues. We can see challenging work, interesting work, recognition, good environment, good organizational culture are the issues that should be focused for the higher level jobs. The The employees who have a higher payment, they are not satisfied with the payment. In that case, they are more focused on organizational culture, recognition, challenging work, and interesting work. So as a manager, you have to focus on payment for the lower level employees, but for the higher level employees, they are highly salaried employees. In that case, their satisfaction depends on the challenging work or interesting work or good organizational culture with recognition and respect. Thank you.